What's good, guys? Listen, as the controversy continues to unfold regarding Amazon Prime's Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, I just want to point a couple of things out to you to explain why I fall on the side of this issue that I do. You guys might know for the longest time I've been saying that these people, these SJW types, all of these people who want to be crying about diversity and inclusion in 2022, the reasons why I don't really take any of them seriously and how they continuously out themselves as not really being a part of this culture is because for all of the crying that they do or claim to do, that, oh, we grew up and we never saw ourselves in this, and oh, glory, glory, hallelujah, it's so good to finally see people, characters who look like me. I just want to say to you guys, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have noticed, off and on, I will post pictures of one of my favorite comic series of all time, which would be ElfQuest. And every now and then I post pictures of that, of their characters, because I want to show people that if you were ever looking for diversity and inclusion in these fantasy stories, ElfQuest would have been for you, as it was for me when I was growing up. Those comics have been around since the late 70s, guys, okay? 1978, I believe it was, that these comics were actually circulating when they first came out. And not only that, but they were created by a woman. Yes, Wendy Penny, I want to say. Penny? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but Pini, okay, with her brother. So they've been there. You couldn't ask for anything more. All of these characters are diverse. You have dark-skinned characters, you have light-skinned characters, everything in between. There's even some suggestion of possibly same-sex relationships in these pages since 1978. It's been that way. And these stories are amazing. Like I said, they were created by a woman, with her brother, but she is the primary writer and artist. But yeah, they are quality. If you read them, look, here, look, I got one right here. And this is just one of many. As you might notice, there is a brown-skinned elf on there. Okay, so it's always been that way. It's always been that way. The stories, the world building, everything exquisite. And I want to highlight this story here to show you a little bit more of the difference between virtue signaling and true love of diversity. Okay, so let's get into this, guys. I want to read this story for you because there's a couple of things going on here. There's a few things to unpack. So let's get into it. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. And it's my pleasure, it's my honor to talk about this because ElfQuest is, quite frankly, one of the best graphic novels and graphic novel series that I've ever read in my life, since I was a child. All right, so let's get into this because I happened to see this on Bounding Into Comics last week. So I want to talk about this because, like I said, there's a few things going on here. So let's get into the headline first and foremost. It says, Marvel Comics artist Bill Sienkiewicz is not happy with forced corporate diversity changes in Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. And it goes on to say, Marvel Comics artist Bill Sienkiewicz, known for his work on New Mutants and Moon Knight, and more recently his tirade against comic book fans, expressed that he did not like the forced corporate diversity and tokenization in Prime Video's upcoming The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power show. Prime Video's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power show executive producer Lindsay Weber explained to Vanity Fair the show's altered and race-swapped multiple characters because it felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. Which is a huge mistake when you're talking about world building and fantasy. The point is, it's not supposed to look like what the real world looks like. We've been over and over this. These people just don't get it. I don't even understand why they're here. I said this before. There are thieves in the temple tonight. These people don't belong here at all. I don't get it. Tolkien is for everyone. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together, she argued. ElfQuest creator Wendy Pini took to Facebook to detail a conversation she had with Sienkiewicz regarding the upcoming The Rings of Power series. She prefaced Sienkiewicz's comments, writing, "Today, my friend and colleague, the illustrious Bill Sienkiewicz, paid me a dazzling compliment in the thread devoted to some interesting debate about the upcoming Lord of the Rings series." She added, "Here is the pertinent excerpt from his comments." And he says, she quotes Sienkiewicz as saying, "I understand that so many young women and people of color want to see themselves represented in their entertainment, but I honestly feel that what I would love to see is stories to be written that do that from the ground up, not retrofitting and reimagining something to suit the current political climate. It's like saying all this pine should really be oak. Fucking pine." Sienkiewicz continued, "Despite strengths and failings, things are what they are. Make something new. Amen." I think what creators like Wendy Pini did with ElfQuest, she created a whole cloth a world, several worlds full of amazing characters that are entirely hers. She didn't rewrite a pre-existing story from some old white guy. She's brilliant, and the showrunners and young writers of every persuasion should follow her lead. I believe that. Reading those graphic novels from back in the day, Wendy Pini, everything had to have come out of that mind, that beautiful mind. If you read those books, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's totally unique. And this is what I was talking about on the Dark Council. She was a visionary. And visionaries are honest. They're honest to themselves in expressing their own artistic, creation. And it makes it totally unique. And that's where she was way back in 1978, a woman. So for all of these people who were talking about, I never saw myself. Oh my God, where? You weren't really looking, were you? All right. I wasn't even looking and I saw it and I appreciated it, but I didn't appreciate it because I saw myself. I appreciated it because it was a good story. Going on. Penny then details her response. Now listen, guys, this is what Wendy Pini had to say. And this to me is the most important aspect of this. Right here. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to this, please. Wendy Pini, creator of ElfQuest, says, "Bill, thank you so much for a very high compliment. What's interesting is if, and I emphasize if, ElfQuest does make it to film or TV someday, in this political climate, it will be assumed that we have dark-skinned elves because we're following the current trend toward representation and inclusivity. But back in the mid-70s, you want to know why I created a tribe of dark-skinned elves? Please pay attention, guys. You want to know why I created a tribe of dark-skinned elves? You're not going to hear this anywhere else. I promise you, not today. For the beauty. Prior to starting my career in the independent comics movement, I had been a semi-professional belly dancer. I saw beauties, male and female, of every exotic hue, and my artist's eye reveled at how the radiant colors of their dance costumes glowed against their golden brown skin," she explained. Man, I just fucking love that with all my heart that she said that. I mean, these days, all you're going to hear with description when it comes to brown, you're going to hear people say shit like, it's shit brown. You know what I mean? But she goes on to say golden brown skin. That is appreciation. And she expressed that in her art. I love that. I love that about her. Penny elaborated. I used to design dance costumes for my own belly dancing teacher who had a distinct Middle Eastern flair. That's why I needed elves of color, because artistically, I couldn't do it without them. Okay, I bit my lower lip on that one, so let me say it again. Penny elaborated. I used to design dance costumes for my own belly dancing teacher who had a distinct Middle Eastern flair. That's why I needed elves of color, because artistically, I couldn't do it without them. Her response concluded, truly, I wish that was the reason for inclusivity now. I wish all humanity could just see the beauty, as I know you do, Bill. I mean, I don't even know what I can add to that, guys. That to me is the key right there. Truly, I wish that was the reason for inclusivity now. I wish all humanity could see the beauty, as I know you do. All right, so you guys have heard me say before, I'm not a fan of people saying that they're colorblind and it doesn't matter, about people's color. Personally, and I've always said this, you've heard me say it before, you should see other people's color. You should see other people's gender, but it just doesn't go one way. Just because you see it doesn't mean you have to resent it. Sometimes you have to really appreciate it, as what Wendy Penny is saying here. I have white friends and I love the fact that they're white. I love it. They should be proud of who they are. There's great beauty in the white race. There's great beauty in every race of human being. And I wish that people would see the beauty of me being so-called black, right? Okay, I'm human first. I always feel that way. I am. But by all means, see my skin, hear my voice, know that I'm a man and appreciate me. And, for that is what I'm saying. I would appreciate others. That is what is called a true appreciation of diversity, God's creation. The same way that you can look at a sunrise or a sunset or flowers or cloud formation, in the ocean, and you can appreciate that and wonder and marvel at it. You can look at the diversity of people and do the same thing. So I feel what Wendy Penny is saying. And when you look at ElfQuest, like I said, which has been around since 1978, there's no excuse for people to be saying how, oh, we never saw ourselves and all of that. You had it, and it was beautiful, and it was written and drawn exquisitely by a woman. I hope that Hollywood never does pick up ElfQuest, especially today, because they wouldn't know what to do with it. She was ahead of her time because she was honest. And I hear what she's saying. If she did it today, if you picked up ElfQuest today, or, some major studio picked it up, Showtime, HBO, Warner Brothers, something like that, I'd hate to think of what they would do with it. And most people would say, oh, this is just more forced diversity, completely ignoring the fact that she was doing this back in 1978. Those are your brown-skinned elves. They were sun folk. That's what they were called. They were out in the desert, and their skin they were dark because that's where their people were from. Versus the Wolf Riders, which was Cutter and Skywise and Bear Claw, and they used to ride on wolves, hence the name Wolf Rider. But I mean, guys, if you've never checked out ElfQuest, now's a good time to do it because that's an excellent, great story. And like I said before, it was my pleasure to collect it. And it's true, man. So while everybody else is tripping off of, what's going on with Lord of the Rings and trying to force things where they don't fit in everything, once again, you're messing with the wrong fandom. All right, we've already evolved past this. If you just look around, that's why these people, they don't ring true for me. They're liars. And that's all there is to it, guys. And I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so this is something that we're overlooking here. So it's my job to put it out there. It's the same thing with Milestone Comics. You got Milestone Comics. You got a veritable stable, of all of these characters of diverse origin and everything. But people still want to try to flip a black Superman. We want a black James Bond and all of that bullshit, man. Nah, it's like, stop letting these people use you and stop letting them insult the rest of us. We've been in this fandom for years. And we know that what they're talking about is some bullshit, bro. But I just wanted to point that out as an example. So anyway, guys, you can get in the comment section. You can let me know how you feel about this. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Where is this all going to end? I don't know, guys. But as long as it's going on, I'll be here with my commentary. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you on the next one. Guys, this is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.